Welcome to the Quick Stop Formula One podcast. My name is Nyasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me as ever is my co-host, looking very fabulous today, Thandie.
Thank
Wow.
you. How are we?
We're good. Such an effort you've made for us today. To what do we owe this pleasure?
No, actually, I'm going to a PR event after this. I can't lie to you. So wrap it up then.
Sorry, she's so fancy, guys. PR events after the podcast. There you go. And joining us, it's a very special day for me. I'm very gassed. Big reason why I started this podcast. I heard a podcast not even like a couple years ago. I didn't even know podcasts existed in Formula One. And then I randomly came across the Missed Apex podcast, and it changed my life. And now I've got my own podcast, but we have the host of that very
the
podcast
guy,
today, Mr. Spanners. I'm so gassed. How you doing, bro?
How's it going? I didn't realise you were setting your...
Yeah, you got the applause.
The way you set that up made it sound like you were a direct competitor now.
Yeah, no, we're not.
So I will be antagonistic the entire show. No, thank you very much for inviting me on. Really looking forward to it.
No, thank you for joining us. And what we had planned to do was talk about the race. So this is recorded on Monday. The race was yesterday on Sunday. Obviously, the Dutch Grand Prix, and there are a fair few talking points to that. But the big news that has dropped today is that Mr. Valtteri Bottas, the news that no one was expecting.
I swear we were expecting it, but just not that soon.
Yeah, well, we thought the Jordan would get announced first, but Bottas has been announced official now to Alfa Romeo on a multi-year deal. Everyone knows what we think of Bottas, Spanish, so I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, no worries.
And I guess for you, I guess, what are your thoughts on Valtteri? I guess just the whole Valtteri Bottas Mercedes situation, really.
I think getting rid of Valtteri Bottas is a huge mistake for Mercedes. So I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. I know some people pretend you're like super neutral, but I'm not. I'm full on Team H44 #44, and I'm living through the kind of the memory of the Rosberg years. And the thing with Lewis Hamilton and his career that people possibly don't appreciate is he's never had this kind of declared number one status. So he went to Alonso. He was meant to learn from the master and schooled Alonso, thrashed him by half a point. Or was it?
Oh shit!
Made Kovalainen look ordinary. Yeah. And then we've got this situation with Nico Rosberg where Nico Rosberg was good. Nico Rosberg was good enough to nick that title with a lot of luck. But he was good enough to do that. And it was in a strange era where even if Rosberg finished second time after time, he would only lose 7 points. So because they were always coming first and second. I know you're asking about Bottas. I've got a point, I swear.
No, that's fine. Please. This is like music to my ears right now. Please.
So the most that Hamilton could gain was 7 points per race. So that engine blow up in Malaysia was like 4 race wins just wiped off the map. Now, I still think that if that's Bottas, Hamilton still wins that title. So I'm not actually slating Bottas because he was playing a role for the team. I think people's expectations of Bottas were just wrong. They were just off. They thought there was going to be another Rosberg coming in to take over. It wasn't. He's Hamilton's Rubens Barrichello, and I think Mercedes should have kept him on. They've won every world title that Bottas has been there for. It ain't broke. What are they fixing?
I don't know. Nothing. I'm just going to give you the gunshots for that.
Yeah. Give him the gunshots.
Absolutely excellent. No, this is what we do on here, bro. It's a madness. Thandie, Spanish just said there that Bottas needs to play his role.
Second driver.
Second driver. So you must be, I guess for you, does George Russell going into Mercedes mean that again Lewis has to, I guess, fight? I'm going to put that in inverted commas for the guys who can't see.
No. Here's the thing,
Why is that? Yeah, tell
Here's the
us.
thing. I think me and you had this discussion as well, that a lot of the George Russell stands have perhaps gassed their brains up a bit too much
Yeah,
early. That
yeah,
George Russell is going to be this second coming, this messiah, and it's like, bros, relax. He just needs to sit and fit into the second driver role
yeah,
because we've
yeah,
still got Mr. 44. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
This
for
is a
sure.
young guy. He's a great driver, and we'd love to see him just grow in Mercedes. But we shouldn't,
Yeah.
just say like this is
Pressure.
the next Jesus when he's John, as we said last week. You know what I'm saying?
He's not Jesus, he's John.
He's
That is the
John.
title of the podcast right there. Look, I
There's a
agree with
nice
you.
vibe here, man. I will say though, Thandie, there is a really strong Russ Fossey building
Yes.
up,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
is by the British fans. There's a lot of guys on my podcast as well who
Mm-hmm.
who think that George Russell has like this divine right
Right.
to.
Yeah.
And they are insufferable, and they're slowly becoming my kind of the worst fans at the moment, because you guys are kind of annoying me now, because you really need to relax about this guy. We understand he's talented. We know he's a great driver. We know
Yeah.
he deserves that seat. But if you've watched Formula One, you need to watch these guys grow, and he's got a long way to go, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
we need to be
Mhm.
careful though. As Ham Fossey, okay, like we're pretty.
Mm,
We need to acknowledge that,
Yeah.
and
mm.
immediately Ham Fossey, George Russell immediately becomes he is the enemy now. He's like,
But you know what it is? You know what it is, guys? I think for
Mm.
me, obviously at the moment there's no objectivity on this pod, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna deal with that. But what I would say is that if looking at it from like a bit of a distance, I think a lot of the entitlement about the George to Mercedes stuff, it's really fed through the media. And it's like
Yeah.
a running narrative. We kind of saw it in the same way with like the Perez taking Albon's seat last year, how once a
Mhm.
narrative starts, it's just like a train, and every performance and everything that it's just seen through that lens. So with George, everyone's had it in their mind, right? I mean, and Sakir probably was the real like. And look, we've all got. Trust me, Spanish. It's not what everyone thinks it is, but Sakir was the race that I think was the final nail in the coffin of any doubt to a lot of people that George Russell deserves that Mercedes seat beyond
Really?
anything that. But it is, and then every
I
day
felt like more last week was the thing that said for me,
for
okay.
the second place.
Yeah, I think due to the circumstances, I looked over and I thought through it and I said, this is probably because I was always like, come on now, we can't just all sit on the Sakir thing
But
and say, do you know what, Sakir
your
was
objective.
when he turned water to wine. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that amazing.
no, I don't want it to sound like I'm just like gone into full on slating George Russell mode.
No, do it, man.
I want to temper things. I want to go. I don't want to get carried away. So look, Sakir, he's jumping into a new car, same power unit, and he's got his shot. And look, Lewis Hamilton won Silverstone with 3 wheels. He had to pit and get more wheels. That's all I'm saying. But look, Bottas looked the equal of him until, especially through the weekend and qualifying. And then Bottas's usual failure towards the end of the first stint of tyres, where he seems to fall back. He was also vulnerable to Russell there as well, but doing a bit well and nearly getting a good result against Bottas isn't the same as going up against Lewis Hamilton. And now you point to the second place that he got last week. Well, this week he drops it in Q2. So
Yeah.
Give him the
you can't.
gunshots. Give him the gunshots.
You want some guns? Let's get
I
the
need some gunshots.
No, yeah, no. I'll be honest, Spanish.
You can't do that against Lewis Hamilton. You could do that against 2011 Lewis Hamilton,
Yeah.
2009 Lewis Hamilton, not modern Lewis
Not
Hamilton. Who's
big 2020 LH. You're
No,
right.
man. Come on.
Relax.
I can't do that. You know what, though, Spanish? I'm loving it because I know on your pod, you've got such a great and like big audience and really diverse audience. So, I know that you can't really go as Hamfosi as you really want. But this is great. I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
loving this.
might have a lean. Look, all I'm saying is George Russell is good, but there is
Yeah.
a difference between. I think any given race, George Russell can go and win against Lewis Hamilton. Any given race, but it's a season. It's not one race.
Mhm.
No, it's not. And I think it's going to be a rude. You know what, though? Who knows? Maybe he does step into that seat and maybe he does, do really well. all I would say is the limited amount of testing that we get every season. We've seen people move to new teams. I think the only one that really hit the ground running was Sainz. Everyone else kind of had their own time. Some people are still getting used to it. We'll discuss them later. Yeah, I don't know.
I've got a caveat for you. How old are you guys?
Oh, I turned
as of Sunday.
Yeah. I'm 33 yesterday.
Hey, can we have a gunshot, please? Can we have some,
the air horn for me. I don't even know if that's playing.
That's pretty old, but Lewis, you're not an elite athlete.
No.
Lewis is 36, so I'm 41, and I feel.
Is it your birthday today?
It is my birthday today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I'm a 41-year-old dad. No one cares.
No, we care. Happy birthday.
We care, yeah. Happy birthday, you pesky Virgos.
Lewis isn't going to be at the top of his game forever. I know, blasphemy, isn't it? But 36, 37, give George Russell a season to get used to that car. It'll be a lot closer.
How old is George?
Like 22, something pointlessly young.
He's a baby. He should still be a go-karting. Really?
No, and I think that's it. We now have, though, I think we've now got this. I think the next generation is really shaping up quite nicely now, where you have Leclerc at Ferrari. I would even add Sainz in there, but he's not as young as the others. Leclerc at Ferrari, Verstappen obviously at Red Bull, George at Mercedes, Lando at McLaren. You can say Ocon, of course, and you can also add Gasly to that. There's a real kind of crop of young drivers who are, going to take it into the next generation. I think for George, he's in the best place that any of those drivers, I guess, could want to be at the moment. I mean, who would bet against Mercedes getting the regulation changes correct for next year? I bloody well hope they have, because if they've been not upgrading the car this whole time and they still aren't streets ahead next year, then questions have to be asked. But yeah, no, I mean, Spanish, how excited are you by, I guess, you've been watching F1, for a while.
1986, so yeah.
Wow. No, same. I mean, I was going to say same. Not at all. I was like 96.
I wasn't even born.
Yeah, well, okay. That's getting edited out.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, how excited are you? I mean, we're having a classic season at the moment, but how excited are you? Yeah. I guess for the health of the sport in general. Seems great.
It's been brilliant, and the Mercedes dominance has been sort of unfortunate in a way. And 2017, 2018, when Vettel really had a car to challenge, he just kept dropping it. I really do believe you swap drivers in 2017, 2018. You've got a Ferrari world champion, and I don't know what happened to Vettel, because that wasn't the Red Bull Vettel.
Yeah,
it would be people saying, well, that's a car without a stable rear end, and he didn't like it. But look in the Aston Martin. He's dropping that. He dropped it at turn 3. He dropped it a few.
Then Silverstone.
Yeah, so that has made it look more dominant than it was. So okay, so where are we getting our competition next then? Rosberg leaves. We've got Bottas in there. No, not really. Bottas is the junior driver in that team. So yeah, the Red Bull challenge this season has been incredible. I'm actually a bit worried about a big regulation change, because generally that spreads the field out rather than bringing it together.
For sure. It's a shame. I mean, we waited all this time to have we waited all this time. Obviously, Ferrari were there 2017-18, but the grid seems a lot closer this year, and we're going to spend it. Although, I mean, everyone got lapped up to third. So
yeah, I was going to say, the top 4.
Yeah,
when Perez turns up, the top 3. But the midfield is all close with each other. Yeah, it's just keep it the same. Maybe spec a few more parts. If you're going to have the budget cap, maybe spec a few more parts. And I want to see 3-car teams. I want to see that kind of action to bring more drivers and make it just a little bit more. I know it's an engineering competition, but let's weigh a tiny bit more towards the driver having an effect, and I'm happy.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Okay, let's finish it off, guys. If you had to give Bottas's time at Mercedes a rating out of 10, Thandie, what are you giving it?
Oh, why do I have to go first? Okay.
Do you want me to come back to you?
6.5.
6.5.
So I think it's too harsh. I think he's being judged as a title contender when really he was a team player. He played his part. He was. So I'm going to give him an 8 because I think he was doing what he was supposed to do, and it's a massive mistake.
I think I'm gonna give 2017-18 Bottas an 8. I think once he started believing everyone calling him Valtteri 2.0, Valtteri 3.0, you know, he grew a beard. All of a sudden, this guy's a different driver. I'm like, where? He jibs a race win in Australia. Everyone's like, oh, this is it. This is the year. And it's ridiculous. And he listened to it.
The beginning of every season in F1 does my absolute head in because people respond to every little quirk and spike, and like nobody seems to cotton on, even after 20 years or whatever, that the Melbourne Grand Prix is not indicative of what's going to happen in the upcoming season.
No.
But yeah, F1 fandom is a bit like that, especially with the media having to fill those column inches. Bottas takes a win, and he's the next. He's going to win the championship. It's like, dude, we've seen this film before.
Yeah.
Should I give you Valtteri's key stats at Mercedes?
You haven't.
Hello, research.
Okay.
Absolutely prepared. This is crazy. Oh,
he's got 9 wins.
9 wins, yeah.
17 poles.
Yeah.
92 races. 671 laps led. 1,224 points. 54 podiums. And 16 fastest laps.
I'm gonna give him the crowd cheering effect for that. I'm gonna give him a round of applause. I was gonna give him like some bombs, but Spanners, what have you got to say for that?
Counter stat, Andy, if that really is the name. This is Bradley Philpott.
I saw this today. Yeah, it's good.
The points difference over 4.5 seasons is 528.5 points. That's the difference. 528.5. That's the gap between Bottas and Hamilton's points.
So
that's huge.
Look, if we
but Hamilton makes everybody looks meaty anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hamilton will make you look stupid anyway. He's a boy wonder. We've said it. He's a superhero. He's not human. The DNA in his is different to all these other guys. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't shock me.
He's the greatest of all time. When are people gonna? Jesus. I do have some more stats. I don't want to be left out.
Go on.
So, someone did a stat about other teammates of dominant drivers and how many wins each one has against the other. So in the years that Vettel and Webber were together, Vettel had 38 victories, Webber had 9. In the Schumacher years, in the 5 seasons Irvine was there, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 4. Oh my god! In the 4 seasons Irvine was there, he won 4 races. Barrichello won 9 races. Massa won 2 in 1 season. So, in terms of fabled, that was from Thanos. Before I not credit him for that.
Shout out Thanos.
But yeah, I guess in terms of, like we were saying, in terms of his second driver, no one discredits Barrichello for being, a second driver. No one discredits Webber, although Webber himself probably, I think, as he's retired, will admit that he was, even himself, he said not bad for a number 2 driver. Bottas' stats, as you've read them out there, Thandie, they're good stats, and I think when people confuse us when we're like getting into Bottas. People confuse us for like hating on him or like diminishing talent. And
I think what we are. Go on.
I'm saying it's just when he steps outside of that second driver thing, and he, the not letting Lewis past in Spain, the last lap foolery, fastest lap foolery yesterday. Like, these things are just he just shouldn't be doing that, and that's what
I think we are just really strict parents.
We're strict parents.
We're strict parents.
Yeah.
Guys, can you guys guess how many calls he's had from James?
Do you know how many Valtteri James he's had?
I researched it.
How many Valtteri James has Bottas had?
He has had 77 calls from James.
What? No, he's not. What do you mean?
Yes, he has. He's had 77.
No, he's not at 77. As in what?
Apparently, he's had 77 according to the internet.
I want to question your sources.
I'll get back to you.
Okay. What we do know is he has been asked to move over a lot.
Yeah.
And it's eating him alive. We were saying he looks really down all the time, and especially this season.
He's a millionaire, man. Come on.
Yeah, he's all right. No.
Yeah, he's got his own sauna, an AMG GT Black Special Edition. And by the way, he got given that because, as great as Alfa Romeos are, you do need a reliable runner whilst the Alfa's getting repaired in the shop.
Yeah. We said actually that it's like he's in a toxic relationship with Toto Wolff, and it's like this is like a breaking up present, but he's gonna just have that. Your new boyfriend's not going to be that great. Here's something.
I swear they gave him a new Mercedes last week. I swear they gave him a new car.
Yeah,
he's just been gifted.
He was selling one the other day as well.
Really?
So then he's making space. Yeah, he was selling a car. But look, guys, we've been talking about Bottas for 20 minutes. As much as you know what, though, I'm happy for him that he's just not going to be in that environment anymore.
Yeah, because he was literally having trolls for breakfast, as we established. It was taking a toll on his, his blonde beard was turning grey.
So for sure.
I hope he's very happy at Alfa. I don't think he'll be the second driver.
No, he'll be top dog at Alfa. He'll get to lead that team. Hopefully, he can do. What I do worry about with Bottas, last thing, is that his tyre management is not great. So to be in a midfield team, to do those offset strategies that Perez used to be able to do, that Gasly did, yesterday, he's just not going to be able to do it. But do you think it's a good fit, Spanners?
I don't know. We'll see. He'll lead the team, but it depends who his teammate is. If it's Giovinazzi, he'll look great.
Yeah. As I did say, him going from Mercedes to Alfa last week, I said it's quite disrespectful. He's a great driver. It's just
he's a good driver.
Yeah,
but also he could be shown up for being not that great. But we'll see. Now, guys, I just I'm really happy that he's gone, but in like a happy for him way. Hungary, not Hungary, Holland,
not Hungary.
The Dutch Grand Prix. Before we get into the race, quickly, have you seen anything like that at a Grand Prix in terms of the fans, Spanners?
Well, okay, so we talked about this a lot on Missed Apex, my podcast. It's about F1.
Yes.
At Silverstone, the crowd is electric. It's incredible as well. There's a few things that might make the Dutch crowd stand apart, which is the flares, which are so annoying. Like, quit it. Just quit it. Grow up. Stop doing flares and that. And then there's, I've been told a lot by our Dutch panelist Jules that there's very much a football mentality, where they're doing a lot of jumping up and down and singing, whereas British F1 is more of a cricket-esque crowd than a Scottish-esque soccer. So, okay, they might deliver that atmosphere because they're cheering and roaring, and you go, okay, good for them. And you remember that Grand Prix has been cancelled. They nearly didn't get that Grand Prix again this year. So, okay, good. But we'll see. Are they there if Verstappen quits? Packed up? Probably not. So, I don't know. I'm glad they enjoyed their day.
Yeah, I'm glad they had a great day.
Yeah. You know what? I don't have to talk anymore about them. So, back to the action on the track. So you know what? I feel like between us, we'll be able to talk about most of the race within our choices for Star of the Day and Donkey of the Day. As the guest, Spanners.
What do we go for first? Star of
the day. Yeah, we'll start with the happy stuff, and then we'll get into some people later.
Okay, so there's a couple of things popping into my head. Lance Stroll for knowing what the buttons on his steering wheel do, even though his engineer doesn't seem to. Did you catch that?
That is the OK button, Brad.
Yeah, he said it with conversations like that. You only say the name
in a
bad way.
Yeah,
Brad.
Yeah.
Like my wife doesn't need to say my name whilst we're in a conversation about stuff. So if she says, well, that's not how it was supposed to be done, is it, Richard? That is a sting.
Yeah.
So all not well there. So Stroll for knowing what the buttons do. I honestly think that my star of the day is just the Red Bull engineering team. It's culminating in a season where I felt like they were slipping and that Mercedes still have the advantage. They've come to this track, and it's probably the setup and the preparation on the Friday and Saturday that have made the difference and given Verstappen that big car advantage. It's going to be too easy to say Verstappen. I'm sure somebody else will. Again, like just a super calm, mature drive. And Red Bull didn't have to use their plan B. They didn't have to respond to Mercedes. They had a watching brief whilst Mercedes tried a million things to get on battling terms, but they never did. And I just think that is a testament to just the Red Bull setup as a package. So they're my star of the day.
No. As much as it pains me to say it, I mean, I think we could just lump in Max in there as well, can't we?
Sure. The package.
Yeah, it's just the whole. They were just on another level, and I think you mentioned the prep work. I read an article, I think it was on Autosport, sorry, where they mentioned that Mercedes said the simulator setup that they had was completely different to what they ended up doing on Friday in practice, and so they were already on the back foot from there. And I just don't think they actually, at any point, Mercedes looked comfortable. And I guess we can talk more about Mercedes, I guess, later. But Thandie, how scary are Red Bull looking?
Not too scary.
Okay. Why is that?
Not too scary. I mean, last week we established that their car doubles up as a boat as well. So they've got that going for them. The points, though, they're not too far ahead. I don't know if anyone's noticed. They keep going like this.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So they're not too scary. Hopefully.
Okay.
I feel like at the moment, Bottas is driving like someone who's definitely not going to be there next year. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully he kind of, tweaks it up a bit. Lewis maintains it. I'm not too scared. I'm trying to say optimistic. How many more races do we have left?
Nine. Yeah, I was going to say 9. Yeah, 9 races. It's close. It is close.
It's very close.
It is close. I'm scared. Let me tell you that.
I was trying to maintain, I was trying to maintain it for the kids. Trying not to spare the kids.
If Lewis wins this, no one can say, "Oh, he didn't have a challenge. He walked away with it." Like Red Bull brought it. Whoever wins this, it's going to be like one of the best World Driver Championship titles to have.
If 100%. He doesn't win it, I don't think anyone should actually contact me for a good 2 weeks. I'm going to be honest, because I've spoken crud on this platform all year, so I really can't swallow that sort of disappointment. So please don't contact me.
Look, I'm gonna
smile and wave.
Yeah, what we're gonna do? I'm gonna make a super cup of all the Max Fernando, and I'm just gonna tag all the Verstappen accounts. I'm gonna be like, let her have it. I'll cut myself out of it, so I'm not in there. And no, you know what? I think the only reason I'm scared is the lack of Mercedes upgrades coming up does worry me slightly. And I just, at the beginning of the season when they weren't setting the car up, and they were having setup struggles, I guess trying to get used to the new regulations, I did kind of think, okay, maybe they'll get used to it at some point. And I felt like Silverstone, there was like some progress with that. But
look at you. Where's the faith? You're panicking.
I'm panicking. Okay, I'm panicking.
Seesaw track. It is a seesaw track dependent. On paper, Mercedes kind of felt like this might be a track that suits them, but it takes away their big weapon. So it's not a power sensitive track. Even though it's quite fast and flowing. I think when we go to Monza, that's going to be a different story.
Monza's always a different story, darling.
Yeah. Okay. So let me put this to you: if Red Bull are like 0.2 quicker at Monza, would you at that point start to get worried?
Yeah, I might just start touching cloth a bit.
Yeah,
Anyone knows what that means? That's so gross. I'm so sorry I said that.
that's what I'm saying.
But
Do you want to have if we have a look at the tracks that are coming up, right?
right.
So it's some more kind of traditional tracks that we've seen kind of coming. So the Italian Grand Prix, Red Bull's advantage perhaps with their aero package. There is no aero; they just strip it off.
Yeah,
They just put some decorative spoilers on the front and back. Russian Grand Prix, very low tyre wear. Turkish Grand Prix, Kota. I'm not seeing that there's anything freaky coming up. The unknowns of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, and I believe, according to Joe on our show, the TBC is going to be Qatar. So I don't know what to expect.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think I've heard that as well. Yeah,
But if it's just like a pretty standard F1 calendar, I can't see Mercedes not finishing strong here. I think you're panicking. I'm going to come back. I'll come back.
Yeah, you need to calm down.
Yeah, you had no faith. Don't celebrate. Stop celebrating. You were freaking out.
No, look, thank you. I needed that. You know what? Sometimes you just need a pep talk. Okay, I just need a pep talk.
It's gonna be okay, man.
It's okay. Yeah.
Right.
No, thank you. Okay, and look, well done to Red Bull. Dominant victory. Mercedes had no answer. And yeah, I mean they're looking great. Well done to them. Thandie, did you?
Yes.
Obviously, we both. For those that don't know, I had a birthday soiree on Saturday
Yeah,
night.
a bit of a soiree.
Yeah, we had a bit of soiree. We were up quite late. I
left your house with like 3 packets of crisps, by the way. That was my takeaway. Everyone else took cocktail. I took 3 packets of crisps.
Yeah, everyone was
calm down.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, to be fair though, everyone else did. Once all the other food was finished, there was a big box of crisps. But did you manage to watch the race on Sunday? I
did.
Yeah.
In bed. This is my new TV.
Nice, who was
my star?
Yeah, who was your star?
Pierre Gasly.
Nice. Yeah. 100%.
Pierre Gasly.
Let's talk about this guy.
Absolutely fantastic, guys. He did amazing in quali and he maintained it. Absolutely amazing stuff from him. I mean, as we know, I'm a big fan of the Frenchman. I think he's honestly just on his head to being a legend in the next coming years. Yeah. Fantastic.
He's great, isn't he?
Do you know what? Pierre's so uncontroversial. He doesn't hurt anyone. He does his thing.
Yeah, no. He's cool, man. Backwards cap Pierre is doing a lot this season.
I like that. Backwards cap Pierre.
Yeah,
I hear it. Yeah.
He's like activated powers.
He's my choice of F1 driver to go for a night out with.
Yeah, I said that.
Nice. I think Thandie said that as well.
It's not just me. Rip it up. I think that is that's one night that turns into 7.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. I'm really happy for him. I know you guys had a bit of a discussion on your podcast, Spanners, about Gasly. Where does he go? Or yeah, I mean, okay. Let me ask a different question. Does it hurt Gasly's career to stay at AlphaTauri for another 2 seasons?
He's probably in the right place. No. Get too excited with people getting great results from the midfield. Tsunoda doesn't seem to be delivering right now, so that's doing him a favour. Yeah. It's the same with I've said, Russell's fighting bums, and then Kubica fans got upset with me. But if you've got look at Russell, was he up against Sorokin one season or Stroll? I can't remember. And then
was it not Kubica 2 seasons?
Kubica 2 seasons, okay. And then Latifi is no threat, so he looks like a superstar. Like immediately, not saying he's not, but I think Gasly's kind of in that position this year. It could just be really that the AlphaTauri is coming with just a great package and he's maximising it. You don't want to get carried away and say, well, that definitely translates into would be taking the fight to Verstappen because we've seen good drivers go into that second seat and struggle. So no, he's probably in the right place. He can build up his legend a bit, and F1 is right time, right place. So you don't know. Sainz gets fed up. Sainz goes and takes a driver Alpine or something.
Yeah.
Suddenly there's a Ferrari seat, and it's a no-brainer because Gasly has been grabbing headlines, nicking those podiums at AlphaTauri.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thandie, behind Verstappen and Hamilton, where would you rate Gasly in and amongst that? I guess those stars of tomorrow who are performing
for
today.
the stars of tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it goes definitely the Ferrari boys and then Pierre, but he definitely does not take Yuki with him. He can leave Yuki at home for now.
Yeah.
You know, like when your mum's like, take your
screaming.
little brother with you. Where, you know, like you let Yuki's now become the kid who, you know, you're like, can I let him join in, you know, but you don't plug in the PlayStation.
Yeah.
You just like, you let him think that he's playing. He's not doing too well, is he? You know what I mean? So
That is
that's
so
where I
sad.
rank him.
It's not going
I
well
said
for you,
worse stuff on this podcast, I promise you. That was very, very
You're
polite.
out of this rising star who's the best outside of the top two conversation, which is upsetting me.
Spanners, where would you put him?
Who, Norris?
Yeah, well, who's
Wait, were we talking about Lando? I mean, sorry, were we talking about Gasly or Norris?
Sorry, I thought you were saying like who's like up there.
Yeah,
you know,
Gasly,
the top two. So with Gasly, look,
Mm.
I think just don't get carried away. He's got F1 journeyman written all over him for his career, where he's going to go. He's probably going to have a good stint at an Alpine or an Aston Martin at some point, and then quietly Hulkenberg it out of there. Yeah, that's why I think he's good. He's doing really well. I just don't get carried away.
I didn't realize we brought Lando into the conversation because now when Lando enters the chat, you guys know how I feel about Lando. Like,
okay, yeah. Well, you said the Ferrari boys and then Gasly, so you forgot about your own boy.
Yeah, I did actually. I feel really bad about that, but I think both Pierre and Lando both have this thing where they're just dragging their teammates. Daniel.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Okay, we'll get into that. I just really want to talk about that. But I'm going to give my star of the day. Oh God, I was going to say Gasly. I don't want to give it to Alonso.
No one ever wants to give it to Alonso.
Yeah. I don't want to do it. But I'm trying to think out of everyone. We've said Verstappen, Gasly. I mean, the Ferrari guys they just had their own kind of pace in there. The Aston Martins were nowhere. Obviously, the Haas's were nowhere. Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Fernando Alonso. I am going to say I am half sorry. I'm not fully apologizing for...
Let him land.
Yeah, I'm not fully apologizing for saying that you shouldn't have come back. I don't think you're good enough to come back. You're going to get shown up when you come back. The form at the moment is showing on race days, I must say, not quite in qualifying yet, but on race days, his racecraft is, I mean, it's so good. He is so good at driving the wheels off a car, overtaking, especially at the start. But, you know, the fact that he raced down Sainz and overtook him, he had a lot more pace than Ocon. Ocon was screaming, let me pass. And Fernando was like, don't even think about it, bruv. Just stuck 6 seconds on him. So, you know what? Big up Fernando Alonso. Really good race. It's scary that he's still got it, like showing that he's still got it. It's a shame that unless Alpine, look, we never know, 2022, this big, like mysterious 2022 that every single company thinks that they're going to be the fastest car on the grid, and you know, we don't know, but you know, if it's close enough for him to be in a title fight, he could be up there. Spanners.
Yeah, because he's clearly not in the same group chat as Kimi. Kimi left the group chat this week.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we forgot to talk
There's
about
a difference on Kimi. I won't be weighing in much on Kimi Räikkönen. I'm so sorry. I think he oh, it's just a hobby. I don't care. And then there's this mystique, like, oh, look, isn't it funny how belligerent and rude he is? No,
No, thank you, Spanish. Bro, no.
Yeah. So I will
he's an arsehole, isn't he? He's a bit of a prick. Can't lie. Yeah, he was rude.
My girl was watching an interview with him in the pre-show of qualifying. I think we were watching the qualifying the next day, and we were watching the pre-show, and I think he was having an interview with, I can't remember who he was having an interview with, but it was just like a typical Kimmy interview. My girl was like, "This guy is rude, bro. Like, what? Like, does he always talk like that?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was
That's
like,
him now, polite. I feel like as he's got older, he's got a bit more tamer compared to how he used to be. Oh my gosh! All I remember about Kimmy is bleep 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 bleep.
Yeah, he's mellowed, but he's also just got just
grumpy
mellow
old
Kimmy.
man now.
Own such love for a driver with such mediocre results and performances. The 2007 title was crazy. Like, that's a crazy title. And weird things were happening in the background after Spygate and all that kind of stuff, and Hamilton binning it in China, being left out on those tires, clearly a fractured team. And then, I don't know, Kimi just comes in and swans in and takes it. The equivalent of that would just be if Perez randomly won this title because Hamilton and Verstappen were taking each other out. Such an odd one. And then from there, he doesn't. He lets Massa be the guy that's the title contender in 2008, which I maintain the 2008 Ferrari is the greatest car in F1 history because it nearly got Massa to an F1 title. And then since then, what I don't get it. I don't get what he's done. There was a couple of punching above their weight results for Lotus. But anyway, honestly, I'm not sad at all.
Speaking, honestly, there's so many things. I feel like that's where we're going with Vettel. Honestly, I feel like we're getting into.
Here he is. He'll do anything to just push the Vettel agenda in there. There he is. Did you see how he just slid that in, guys?
I'm tired of this guy. You can't be spinning on your own, and people be putting you in the top 5 drivers on the grid. You can't even the best driver in your team, bruv. He
nearly hit Bottas as well. Bottas went, he was like spinning on his own. It's in the frame.
So you were starting off with Alonso though, and it's a completely different story with Alonso, and he's like 39, and he's a complete driver. He's a complete package. Interestingly, this race in the interviews, he hinted that he wasn't quite feeling it in qualifying, but in the race he feels like he's in his element. And so 39-40, not being quite in those final couple of tenths in qualifying, I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
But look at him on lap 1.
But that's what he always says, though. He's always like, I wasn't feeling in qualifying. He says it all the time.
You know what, though? He's a lot more humble now than he was when he was even at McLaren and it was all going to shit. And it obviously, like, everything was everyone else's fault other than his. He was, if they'd had a decent chassis, he would have been winning races, etc., or decent engine. But he's a lot more humble now. I'm not saying that I like him.
You're setting a low bar, though, aren't you?
I think racing alongside people who you've changed their nappies will just humble you anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what it is.
You're on one today. You're in savage mode. Look, I like it. Look, you keep it up, please. Now, big up Alonso. That's my star of the day. Those are all the stars of the day. So let's get into some people. Spanners. Anyone's performance or any team's performance that was just not up to scratch?
All right, so you want me to? You want to know who missed the apex?
Oh, you missed the apex.
Is that what you want? Okay.
Yeah. I feel like hopefully he doesn't notice that it's pretty similar. But
fine. Perez. It's just. I do feel like he was unlucky going out of the qualifying, but he needs to set his standards higher. He needs to set his sights higher, and like in snooker. Or in pool, when you top the white ball and it bounces around 3 cushions, hits the black, and then it goes in. you don't celebrate that.
Yeah.
You don't whoop up and down. You tap the table and say, sorry, let's re-rack. And so for him overtaking for 10th place, going, okay, who's next? Like, no, dude, that's not it. That's not the time. When you're hunting down for the win, yeah, because you're in arguably the fastest car of the weekend.
Yeah.
So, what is it? Donkey? That's a bit harsh. All right. But it'll go to Perez because he underperformed for his car more than anyone else by far. And I'd give Mazepin it, but then I'd have to talk about Mazepin. So.
Yeah, we're just the same. Like honestly, it's just like Geese is just. You know
I think he was just. He got the badge, and it's like he's got a special award. Yeah, like he'll always have that every week anyway.
So with tattooed on his forehead.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to Perez. I'm a massive Perez fan, by the way, so I'm not just stomping on him. I want more. I want higher. I might have to wait till 2022 to get it, but I want more.
You're a strict parent. We hear it.
No, for sure. And the thing is, it's interesting. You know, we talked about Valtteri, and we get into Valtteri and whatever. But Valtteri, whatever happened with his race, he's a solid third place. He is doing that job. Perez was brought in to essentially mimic the job Valtteri Bottas is doing because Red Bull wanted options, for strategy, and they wanted to people to take points. It was funny, they were saying take points of Hamilton and take points of Bottas. Thandie, do you think Perez has got, maybe obviously he's gone to a new team, but compared, if he's a number 2 driver at the fastest car on the grid, do you think he's got somewhat of an easier ride than maybe others have got?
No, but Perez is a good driver. Let's not do that.
Let's not
do that. We know he's good.
Okay.
We know he's good. And we know that seat is a bit... Pardon?
Really super duper good.
Yeah, like...
Tell you what, as a Perez fan, there's been real rough times where loads of people have said he's a middling driver. He got rid of his, he lost his McLaren opportunity. People thought, although I disagree, that Ocon had the measure of him. And
relax.
There's been rough times as a Perez fan, but then here we are, 2 Grand Prix wins later in a top team. So there'll be good days again, and I'm holding out. I've been watching this long enough.
So is what you're saying, Nyasha, is that Perez is essentially kind of another Bottas in terms of...
I don't even think he's as good as Bottas, bruv. No, I think he's... No, sorry. Let me temper it. I just think that it's funny how we frame conversations in this sport. And for me, Perez is not performing to the level that Red Bull signed him for. Yes, there's been good races. Baku, obviously. I'm trying to think of like another...
How dare you?
Get him! Boo this man!
But just rewind 3 races ago, and everyone was like, yeah, he's a shoo-in. He's a shoo-in for a new contract. He's done enough to prove it. And then he's had like 3 or 4 absolute shockers, including spinning it on the exit lap.
Yeah.
I think, look, it's a bad run. Perez fans listening, just breathe in. Hold your knees, rock backwards and forwards. We'll be all right.
But how did he get driver of the day then?
Oh, because it's a stupid system, and basically the cameras feel so much pressure now to not be boring because certain media outlets are like, oh, yawn, there hasn't been overtake for 5 seconds. F1's so boring. I'm wacky and crazy. Look at me. It's not at all contrived. And so that has fed this instant gratification culture amongst F1 fandom. And now I think the broadcaster feels pressure to focus on any overtakes to the point of never looking at the midfield battles, never seeing how they evolve. And so Perez, with the only one doing some overtakes, was the focus. So look at that and go, "Sure, Perez is doing well, and look at all those overtakes." Click, driver of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Look, and fair play to him. Fair play. I didn't agree with that at all. But like I say, like if it looks like the only person who's doing anything of any note is Sergio Perez, then he's going to end up getting the driver of the day. If he's performing to this level next year, as in this current batch of form next year, it will just be interesting to see if he gets the same level of criticism. I feel like he probably will, because people just love having driver change arounds, and there'll be calls for Gasly to go back in, or if Albon.
This is the thing. Just remember, Albon and Gasly were very popular as well, and it kind of felt like Perez came in and stole that seat. So that's possibly part of the reason he's being held to a very high standard as well.
Yeah, well, I want a higher standard. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too, man. Me too.
And look, I believe he'll get there. That was a good donkey. Thank you. Thandie,
Yuki.
who was anyone that you? I know you already mentioned Yuki, yeah, but anyone else?
Daniel again.
Daniel Ricciardo. Let's talk about
Daniel
it.
Ricciardo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Daniel.
Okay. Okay. Why are you? Let's say, like, yeah. You tell us why, and let's start, because we could go so many ways with this conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Why didn't you? Why? What? Yeah. What's up with Daniel?
Okay. Maybe on a statistic thing, if we look at like the driver standings at the moment, Daniel isn't even close to Lando.
Yeah.
Which tells me something's not right.
Yeah.
I think throughout the conversation this year, we've been saying, you know what, give Daniel some leeway. He always does better later on in the season. And guys, we've got 9 races left. We've just been waiting, not doing nothing. All I'm seeing is this guy just smiling in pictures, and it's like, God love him. It's great and everything, but Daniel Ricciardo, I've heard this a lot, and I've been defending him on Twitter, but he can possibly start this conversation that maybe Daniel Ricciardo is falling off.
Ooh, harsh. That's harsh.
That's the bombs. He's dropping bombs. My goodness.
Do you
But
think
you guys know I love him.
I think we're risking a heavyweight boxing scenario with F1.
Okay.
Drivers. So each teammate lineup is like a heavyweight bout, and then there's the rematch the next season. And with heavyweights, we love them. They come through, they're fighting bums. You go, oh yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. They lose one match, could be a lucky, like look at Joshua and Ruiz.
Yeah.
There's that punch comes in, puts him down, and you just go, pff, and we forget about them. We're like, pff. They've got to prove themselves again after one loss. I think we're guilty of doing that with F1 drivers as well. I don't think Ricciardo becomes a driver going into a team that Lando has got his feet fully underneath. That I wouldn't worry.
So, I hope not, because I'm a big fan. Do you know what I'm saying? That's my guy still. Yeah.
Do you it's a lot, isn't it? I mean, okay, let me ask this question then. I mean, he's on a which everyone likes to use now. All of a sudden, multi-year deal. No one wants to tell us how long.
What the hell is multi-year? How many years is that?
We don't know how many. It could be. I'm assuming 3 if they're going to say multi. Because it must be more than 2.
So you should tune into Mr. Apex on Wednesday. We've got a lawyer who's going to be talking to us about F1.
Wow. Okay.
Pose that question from this podcast whilst giving you guys a delicious plug, of course.
Oh, please.
And, yeah, I think people will hate me if they listen to this though. I've gone full honesty on that.
No, guys, for real, listen to that podcast. Please subscribe to them on YouTube. Go listen to them. Apple, Spotify, all them things there. They're
cool.
great, and they're fully independent as well, which I like about you guys.
And they have a cool background. We don't have
your
that.
Visuals are actually
so
really
the visuals
inspiring.
for the video and for the website was both from listeners who liked what we were doing but thought that those elements were rubbish, and then they've been part of our team for the last 6-7 years, putting together all our videos and stuff like that. And I will return the compliment and say, when you sent me a message, I went and looked at your podcast, and you two are just infectious, and you've just got an energy.
Thank you.
And there's nothing worse than just dull podcasts. And look, I get it. There are some outlets where they basically they force the journalists into a studio and go, here's a microphone, this is part of your contract, say things, and they don't want to say things.
There's
passion from this show. I respect that.
Thank you.
You.
If there's anything, there's passion.
There's passion, all right. I'm just waiting for tears one day, because I know they're coming.
Yeah, no.
From Nyasha.
Look, if Hamilton wins this 8th one, I'm saying that.
I want to see them. I want to see them.
Yeah, no, trust me. Back to Daniel after that laughing. That was lovely. So yeah, after this multi-year, let's just say at the end of next season, let's say he's got a 3-year deal. Next season, he gets closer to Lando, but Lando is still the superior driver within the team. As McLaren, what do you do? Do you stick or twist?
Who
Me?
would we?
I'm gonna go. Let's go you and then Thandie. And
So I
then,
tell you what, if I'm a team boss, I always want a number 1 and a 2 anyway. Well, that is this equal drivers thing. I would have no truck with it, sir. And I am happy with Ricciardo catching up and being there and playing the team role. That's fine for now. But look, it could be that Ricciardo's struggling. It could be that Lando Norris is like the real deal and is a legit superstar. So that's what you've got to try and tease out as a fan. But I wouldn't panic now. See how next season goes. Maybe Ricciardo is closer, but you don't want to take points off him because they're fighting for third in the Drivers' Championship. So Ricciardo, you're like, okay, look, you're doing well. We acknowledge that. But you've had a slow start again. So you're playing second fiddle. I wouldn't panic about it. And I don't think Ricciardo is going to bed crying too much, is he?
He's not. The man does not stop smiling, and God love him. That's the best bit about him. Do you know what I mean?
My Daniel Ricciardo is secretly evil theory, though.
Talk to us about it.
Talk to us.
I'm just saying he's suspiciously happy, and I just like if it turns out that he did a murder one time, I wouldn't be surprised.
And look, no one's gonna suspect it at all, really, are they? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be the happy, smiling man that's done it. But then, on reflection, when you think about it, yeah.
Oh, hang on, that's my lawyer on the phone. Allegedly, if he'd done a murder.
Yeah, allegedly. Obviously, always gotta add the A word in there. Thandie, is Lando Norris the real deal then? And Daniel's just.
Don't ask me that. Don't ask me that. You know how I feel about Lando. He's a great guy, right?
Yeah.
If it was me, I definitely agree with you, Spanish, that, you know, let's give him till next season. If it is a matter of him just getting used to the car, get used to it quick. Get your finger out your own. Do you know what I mean? Pull your finger out and... You know, get to it. But then again, you when you look at the bigger picture, who are you going to replace him with?
Well,
he fits perfectly on that seat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Gasly, I guess, is probably...
No, because we've just said that we liked Gasly in the AlphaTauri.
Okay.
So double...
Okay, no, you're right. No. You're right. No, sorry.
The only Ricciardo replacement I would have is some superstar kid just coming in.
Yeah, who's just coming in from GP. Yeah.
McLaren didn't have another young driver, do they? Not like a...
they can just steal one. You know how it works.
Yeah, to be fair, these academies...
Nick DeFries, something like that. Do you know what I mean?
They're not worth the paper they're written on anymore, to be honest, any of these driver agreement contracts.
I'm sure Helmut Marko's got a few numbers for them.
Yeah, Helmut Marko, he's got so many young drivers and no seats to him in anyway. So, good. I get to say what my donkey of the day is. My donkey of the day is the Mercedes strategy team again. Jesus. Ooh. I am tired of these guys, man. Let me just say this, right? Mercedes are a great team. I love Mercedes. I wouldn't say I'm a Mercedes fan. I'm more of a Hamilton fan. But
no.
Really? I didn't know this.
I love... Because I've been watching from before. I never had a team. The concept of supporting a team, I didn't even clock it until I joined F1 Twitter, like March. And I noticed people proper love teams. Whereas I've always I liked Schumacher because he was winning when I started watching in 96. And then Hamilton came along and I was like, yes. And then it's just like a really, really neat handover period from one to the other. And I've just always supported Hamilton. So I don't have like a strong affinity for... I am really grateful for everything Mercedes done and I'm in awe of them as a team. But it's like Hamilton first, Mercedes second for me. And by proxy, I support Mercedes, which is why I just get really disappointed when sometimes they can seem really flustered when it comes to just strategy in general, and even pit stops as well. And for me, for a top team, what we saw on Sunday, I think, was just not good enough. But I guess there's a caveat in that their car was considerably slower, and their windows of opportunity were maybe smaller. But yeah, I wasn't happy. Spanish, tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. God, what an idiot. And you said it in a stupid way as well. No, I have some sympathy with Mercedes. I honestly think there was a couple of dice rolls there, and every roll I don't think would have worked. There's a very narrow window of going for the final soft sprint. Again, you've got to feel like those tyres would die out. I just feel like Red Bull could have matched them either way. But I agree, it sounds a little bit muddled and cluttered because Lewis Hamilton cannot conceive of that there wasn't a strategy to win. He doesn't like the Kobayashi Maru. He would be a rubbish Starship Enterprise captain. So he's always like, well, why didn't we do the other thing? So there's two things. I think whichever one they'd have done, Lewis would have rightly gone, why don't we do the other thing? Yeah. This has worked out badly. We should have done the other thing. But what slayed me a little bit was the radio exchange where they wanted him. They had given up. They'd given up, and actually they were thinking, we don't want you falling back too far towards Bottas on these mediums. They've gone off a cliff, and they're like, well, you've got to preserve these till the end. And Lewis is like, but I'm trying to catch him. And then Mercedes is like, oh yeah, well, go on then.
Yeah,
knowing that it would have been if they'd have said push, he could have overtaken Verstappen beautifully, and then we'd have had the heartbreak of Verstappen then overtaking again in 5 laps time when the tyres went off the cliff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. The communication didn't look great, and it's exasperated by Liberty constantly playing Lewis Hamilton's messages. It's other drivers are making those same calls.
Yeah.
But they want the drama of Hamilton's
Yeah, why
win.
do they keep doing that? Like, why do they just constantly just keep playing Lewis?
That's the narrative. The narrative is, Lewis is always unhappy. He's always whinging about his tyres. He's always whinging about his strategy. He's so calm. He's so calm.
Calm.
So much criticism anytime he said anything, like, I quote a 21-year-old quoting an Ali G joke and got absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah, they flogged him. That was terrible.
And as a nation, we got the Lewis Hamilton we deserve because now he is like super calm, super focused, and he just. But even then, we should have done the other strategy. Lewis Hamilton whines about strategy. Anyway, sorry, that's a little bugbear that I have.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. I mean, this is something I think I tweeted it on the day, and I was like, it's literally only play Lewis Hamilton's radio. There's the whole Stroll one wasn't played on TV. It's hilarious.
They did it to Grosjean as well. I will point out they seem to really play out all of Grosjean's messages too, and he just looked like the biggest whinger in the world. And I was a big Grosjean fan.
I think it's like a narrative thing, isn't it?
I like Grosjean as well.
Oh, good. You two like a lot of similar things. Good. Great minds. For sure. I think just like in terms of narrative, it fits this narrative of Hamilton, the whiner, Hamilton, the precious F1
diva.
Yeah.
Do you know
what I mean? I hate it. And it's we as fans, I think most fans can see that it's just, it's a normal thing. But, I think when it's fed in the media and Sky having a montage of it in the post-race discussion, and it just kind of builds up and builds, and it just feels like we all know why Hamilton, I guess, gets different treatment, but it's
because I think he's a superstar for one thing. If you don't play out what Lewis Hamilton is doing, he's got a massive following who will be like, hey, why haven't we heard from Lewis Hamilton? Why haven't we seen what Lewis Hamilton is doing? But I just wouldn't be too hard on the strategists, and like Bono communicating with a guy traveling at hundreds of miles an hour, wanting to win the race, not quite having the big picture that they have on the pit wall. I would have sympathy for them, because how hard would it be to say to Lewis, honestly, mate, second is a blinding result here. Let's take our fastest lap and only be 6 points down. That is a big win today. onto Monza. That's a tough call to make, and I think honestly, they did their best.
Okay.
I won't be too harsh on them.
Some sympathy there. Thandie.
Yes.
I don't think I've asked you what you thought of Mercedes. Mercedes' performance, I guess, this weekend.
Rubbish, mate. That's the only thing that's actually gonna, these worries that are seeping through in your heart, Nyasha, that have kept you up at night. It's because it's
Yeah,
mostly Mercedes that are scaring you. It's not Lewis. I don't
yeah,
think it's too much Bottas. It's literally the team.
yeah.
So I think if we aren't to lose, I mean, what am I talking about? If we aren't to actually get that win at the end of the season, I don't think we're pointing fingers at the drivers. I think we're pointing fingers at the strategy.
Lewis has made one mistake,
Yeah.
hasn't he? As far as I'm concerned, I can't.
What was the
Imola?
mistake?
Yeah, and he was lucky. Well, he was overtaking Russell and then locked up and went off.
Yeah, run into the wall. Yeah, I think. I mean, that's the thing for me. There's several occasions this year. I would say several. There's 4 or 5 occasions this year where I think things could have just been done a bit cleaner. I think yesterday, I think maybe you're right in that they were just on hiding to nothing in some cases. But I mean, even like the pit stop was like 3.5 seconds. And then, Red Bull pull out a 2.6 or something, and it's just like, or 2.7, whatever. And it's just like, like these are the things, like if you're lucky to do an undercut, you can't have like a 3.5 second pit stop. Like you can't do it. And it just feels like those are the types of things where that's not a strategy at all, but that's on the team. But just sometimes last year they looked like the most well-run outfit you could ever imagine, other than the Bottas pit stops, which seemed to get he just his luck for whatever. But yeah, that's those are my thoughts on that. And anything else? I feel like we've covered a lot, but anything else about the race that
I'm not in a hurry to go back to that track. It's
Really?
like Hungaroring is on the limit.
Yeah,
I think this is over the limit.
Is that because of the fans though?
No, not at all. It's a very tight, twisty track. They did their best. I see what they were going for with the banking. It didn't come off. I think you'd need another 8 DRS zones.
yeah.
Hungaroring, like I said, on the limit, in the wet. Yeah, that's good. Maybe Zandvoort in the wet as well. But this was approaching Monaco. Modern F1 racing, I like a bit of runoff. Oh, controversial. Oh, I don't want everything to go back to the 1980s. Sorry about that. When there's gravel and grass, the drivers, they don't want to make that lunge. They don't want to make that dive. If you're going to hit a wall or you're going to go on your gravel and bin your race, you just follow behind. And, the modern tracks, people slag off Paul Ricard because it looks terrible. But the first race we went there, you saw Hulkenberg doing like these big lunges into the chicane. And it's better racing, maybe not better telly. Maybe they need to paint it better or whatever. But I'm just not in a hurry to go back to this track. But we're stuck at this track because of Max Verstappen. So
yeah,
one of those things.
And look, those fans are going to be even more mental. I didn't get to watch the post race discussions too much because it was my birthday yesterday. I was just all over the place.
Well done, man. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
You made it. You lived
I
another.
made it.
Yeah, you kept breathing, man.
Thank you, man. But so I watched the post race stuff today, and they had a chat with the like circuit director or something. And he was like, it was actually stripped back this year because they nearly didn't have it, as you said, Spanners, due to COVID and the situation in the Netherlands. They nearly didn't have it. There was going to be a whole so they had like Tiesto, all these DJs, announcers. There's going to be like a whole fan village where they're just going to have a massive rave. There's going to be like all this fan engagement stuff, which would have made it like even more of a party atmosphere. So I guess in that sense, what we've seen now, we're thinking this is mad. It's going to be even madder next year, and especially if Max is good. We'll see if that Red Bull isn't good. How passionate you are, but yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it. The banking when done right, like it's not essentially banking, but the first corner in Mugello has that thing where you can go around the outside and it's like, inside or outside it's quick, and that's good. But I just felt like this track, you couldn't pass. They were saying 6 seconds. They were getting dirty air. It's just like.
Tell you what, I'll take this track if you ditch Monaco. Then I'll have this one.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ditch Monaco.
Yeah.
I hate Monaco.
It's a money pit, innit? I hear it.
Oh, you just have to be there, darling.
Yeah,
Sipping shine.
oh yeah, you just have to be there.
Okay, guys, coming up we have the Italian Grand Prix from one passionate set of fans to the other. Monza, historic track, also can be slightly boring if there's no safety cars / rain. Can be a bit of a DRS train / procession, but nevertheless, it's good fun. And hopefully, it's a Mercedes stronghold. Thandie, I'll come to you first. If there's one thing that you'd like to see next week on Sunday, what is that? Like, what are you looking for? Like, what performance are you looking for from someone?
Forza Gasly.
Yeah.
Forza Norris.
Yeah.
And for Yuki to stick his finger out and do something where he doesn't just
stick it
spin
out.
Do you know what I mean? And hopefully Vettel doesn't spin. Granddad spinning again.
Oh yeah. Look, you know what? Yeah, I said I'm not gonna get into him because people think I'm a hater. But it's just unfathomable that he just doesn't get criticism for spinning his car on his own. Like,
because he picks litter.
Oh,
he cycles to the track.
Oh God.
Everyone else has gone home. He turns the lights off.
Yeah, he turns the lights.
Oh my God! Look. Big up Sebastian Vettel. You know, do your thing, bruv. I'm not saying anything anymore. But those are good things to say. Thank you, Thandie.
So, are you sure we can be Humfosi here? You're sure, yeah? Because I've got a quote here from Toto Wolff. A lot of the other outlets have missed it, and they said to Toto, "What do you want from Monza?" And he said, "To crush our enemies, see them driven before us, and hear the lamentations of their engineers."
Wow,
correct quote.
Nice.
Toto, I have a theory, like he has a condo on a mountain and like he's just so cool and European. So that doesn't shock me. He sounds like a villain constantly, doesn't he?
I've got the feeling that you two are too young to get that reference.
I was going to say, is that that's from...
No, Conan Barbarian, you pointlessly young idiot. Come on.
I thought you actually said that, you know. I was like, wow, you went in. Wow.
Oh my God.
The way we were just like,
I was like, wow, Toto's going in, bro.
Nah, there's 40 at you right now. Sorry.
And now, against the Schwarzenegger. Oh, I get it. Sorry, we failed you. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
24. 24? By the way, George Russell, 23. I looked it up.
Yeah. So did you say what? Yeah. Other than say George Russell,
23. We were talking about his age earlier. He's 23.
Yeah. Oh, 23. Okay.
So he's 1 year younger than me.
Oh, there you go. You're so young. Spatters. Other than Toto Wolff and Conan Barbarian comparisons, what would you like to see?
It's a track where they'll line up team by team. It'll be a bit Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark, Lewis Hamilton. I'd like to see that your Bible reference is correct.
Yeah.
That would not go down well in my 90s Sunday school. You said parting the waves like Noah. Dude, come on, look at your tattoos.
That was not.
Noah's Ark with the teams there. I think yes, you're right. Do stand by for a bit of a DRS train, but I just let's see Mercedes just having a clean run at the strategy. I've got a feeling it's going to be a dry one-stop DRS train. So.
I never really look forward to Monza as a race, but then I'm always like recently I've been pleasantly surprised. So
yeah, it's a cool track.
Yeah, it's a cool track. I think hopefully if we could get something similar to 2019, where there was like offset strategies and Hamilton could. I don't want the result, by the way.
Because that was the clerk, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Barge
the clerk.
off, and then they're like, "You're a very naughty boy. Here's a brand new flag we've invented."
Yeah. You can run people off the track. That is fine. It's kind of like the fact that Max overtook someone under red flags, and I'm like, oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
Come on, guys.
As well, look, I am cynical. Just like I would like, if possible, and I think Mercedes are probably going to need it to win if they're not fastest. Like an offset strategies where someone's hunting the other one down. I think even Lewis in 2018 when he hunted Raikkonen down, which was pretty cool as well. So those types of races, if there's not going to be like a safety car or anything, would be pretty cool. I just want it. Yeah, closer action between.
It's a Hamilton track. To be fair, we've got to be heavy on the brakes to start with, and just really ease that off and use that weight transfer to get into the corners. And that's why Hamilton is so strong around like Abu Dhabi and stuff. I think he'll run well.
Yeah, I'm excited. We need Nyasha to light a few candles to his Hamilton shrine, and I'm sure
Yeah.
He'll.
You actually saw my mood board for the year. And,
I saw his mood board, guys. I went into his office, the room that he's in at the moment. He has a shrine.
I don't have a shrine. Don't lie. I have a picture on my mood board because I was like, I'm going to start a podcast, and I have a picture of Hamilton.
He kisses it,
and he looks at me every day, and I look at him.
Oh my gosh!
That's not the point. Look, guys, we're running out of time. It is time to go.
Talk about the mood board.
You know what? The thing with mood board, you've got to keep it private, otherwise the stuff on it might not come true. So,
I saw the mood board.
Spanners. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. Where can the guys find you on social media? And I guess plug yourself, plug the podcast. Plug away.
You can find me on a breeze of optimism, trying to nurture a media career so fragile you can only whisper it. The best place to find me would be at SpannersReady on Twitter or Richard Reddy on Facebook. Come and be my friend. My DMs are always open. Oh, and if you're into gardening, tune into BBC Radio Cambridgeshire at 10 a.m. Not next week, but where I'm a gardening show host.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Could we have the sound effect, please?
Yeah, no, you can get the
no,
air
not
horns
from
for
us.
that.
I wanted the Miss Apex one.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I've got that. You want the?
Yeah.
Oh
that
no, Apex.
Sorry. 2 times.
What I was going to say? What kind of stuff? I'm actually really curious now. What are you, like a flower gardener or like a produce gardener?
I'm not. I know nothing about gardening. 18 months ago, other gardening hosts couldn't make it, so I parachuted in to substitute for a few weeks, and it's been going fine. I have an expert there, and I'm enjoying learning. I know nothing about it. Nothing is retained. So every week, I'm like memento. I turn up, and it's like all brand new again. I'm like, okay, great. Should we prune things? And it's really interesting.
That's
fantastic.
I'm actually tuned into that. I've been looking at a fair few gardening bits and bobs. So I might actually, I'm gonna tune in. Thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thandie, any last words to say?
Do you know what? Goodbye, Valtteri Bottas. Let's smash it with these last few races. It's been an honor having you, my guy. We read the stats; they were decent. You're a great driver. This last year hasn't been the most easiest. I haven't been the most easiest on you. I hope he hasn't seen any of my tweets because I looked over them and I was a bit like, I'm a bit mean, aren't I? Yeah. But you know what? Congratulations.
Whom it may concern, that's you. He's talking to you. That it is a reference to his social media haters.
Yeah, he was talking to me.
Look, it's fine. Look, they'll make a whole episode about it on Drive to Survive, and we'll get some promo. So thanks, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter. What is it? Quick Stop F1. That's what we're called. Subscribe to the channel.
Oh my gosh!
And leave us an Apple review. They really help. I got some kind of marketing email. Did you see the marketing email? Spanish, do you get these?
About the rankings.
Someone just randomly
That's the
messaged us
second
like,
time.
this is your rank. You are ranked 136 for sports in
Sport
Greece.
podcast.
Once we went top 50 in the US sports charts, I stopped paying attention.
Oh yeah, no,
Wow.
big money. I was like, you know what? Round of applause. I remember that episode. I was like, that was incredible. Do you know why that was? Do you have any idea, like, why that happened?
Get people to leave reviews. Leave these people iTunes reviews. It really, really helps. And tell your friends to go and check out.
My mum keeps just saying, why don't you just get Lewis Hamilton on your podcast? Maybe it might do well that. And I'm like, yeah, because you can just get Lewis Hamilton on your podcast.
Look, I've been trying to manifest it on this wall.
Why didn't I?
Engage your fans as well. Engage your listeners.
We do that. Yeah. Nyasha does a great job of that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, you talk to us too much. Leave us alone.
Yeah, I know.
Leave me on red.
Little bit of that, but guys, look, we love you. We love all the comments. Please, you've heard. Leave us a review on Apple. It actually, our listenership on Apple did actually like double like a few weeks ago, and I think it's because we've been hammering that. So thank you. But we're gonna go. We'll see you guys after the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. We've got a really cool guest coming up next week as well, so I can't wait to see you. But thank you so much, Banners. Thank you, Thandie. And thank you guys at home. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.